stations.
Dump stations still see it there.
Yes.
And above
Yay.
there was a conveyor.
Harris opens in 1930, takes the place of 3 wooden Armstrong towers. The thing to know here is this is mainly a passenger operation. In 1902, they put the low-grade line in, goes from Ackland, crosses the river at Shocks Mills, goes up to Enola. So that diverts the freight trains from Harrisburg and takes them across the river. So there's still a day here at Harris. There's over 100 passenger trains. Added to that, there's also about 15 passenger trains coming in on the Reading, about 15 passenger trains coming in on the Cumberland Valley. Cumberland Valley has their own station on the other side of the Pennsylvania Railroad station. They're operated by the Pennsylvania Railroad. Cumberland Valley is operated by the Pennsylvania Railroad until 1919, when they're absorbed into the railroad. So that's the Cumberland Valley. The Reading has service until passenger train. Last passenger train is in 1963. Is the last Reading passenger train called the Queen of the Valley, and that goes from Allentown to Harrisburg. This is a unit switch and signal interlocking machine, and it's put in place here in 1929. It's pretty much state of the art for that time period. But other railroads in 29 are using CTC machines. Pennsylvania Railroad is having good luck with these. They keep using it, but the CTC machines will surpass these machines. So Cola Tower at Columbia, that is a CTC machine. It's built in 38. So state of the art here, state of the art for the time, but not necessarily much longer than that. Here's the Reading. This is the model board, and these blue lights are directional lights, indicating westbound and eastbound tracks. The tracks 1 through 4 are in the 1 train shed. Tracks 5 through 8 are in the 2nd train shed. 9 is outside. 10 has its own platform, but they are all 1 through 10 are all passenger tracks. 11 and 12 are freight tracks. This switch here, the line at the bottom, is the Reading connection. And in order for the 10R signal to be lit, it requires the operator in Capitol Tower to also throw a lever, so that that they both towers synchronize it. Capitol is still there today. Joe, take care. Capitol is still there today, but it was called Peach and P Junction under the Reading. The Reading is the last line in Harrisburg to be built to Hagerstown in 1891. Pennsylvania Railroad starts in Harrisburg in 1846, and they build west, first to Lewistown, and then on to Altoona, Johnstown, Pittsburgh. But after that, they pretty much expand by buying other railroads. So this is the model. The interlocking here. Interlocking is about 3,000 feet long. The trains are coming in on 1P and 2P down here at the other end of the model board, and then they're routed through one of these 10 platforms. A lot of activity happening here. Harrisburg has always been it's a division point between the Philadelphia and Middle divisions. So it's always been a change point for locomotives. Steam engines are always changed here at Harrisburg. In 1938, the line is electrified, so you now have the electrics entering the mix. So you have electrics going east to Lancaster and on to Philadelphia, New York, and Washington. Now, the tracks here also, and those trains will be coming on tracks 1, 2, and 3. Those tracks are going to connect with the Northern Central. So they go to Baltimore and Washington directly, not to go to Philadelphia, and they are not electrified. So they're first steam engines, and then in the 40s they become dieselized. So that's what's happening there. So you have You have sections, all the named trains, all the named trains here on this board here. Metropolitan Express, Pure St. Louis, Gold Arrow, Red Arrow, Potomac, Iron City Express. These all have a section going to Baltimore, Washington, and they have a section going to Lancaster, Philadelphia. So the trains, when they come in here, they're split, pulled apart, and reconnected with new power to take them to their destination. 100 trains, this is 1930, but it's pretty much the same in 1910. It doesn't change very much. By the late 40s, you're starting to see discontinuation of trains in Harrisburg. In 1965, the post office, in their wisdom, cancels the mail contract, and that is wholesale abandonment by the railroad, because the mail paid the freight. So you have a passenger train that maybe had 5 mail cars and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 passenger cars. Once that mail contract expired, the railroads filed for abandonment immediately of the trains. Amtrak comes on board in 1971, and they agree, or the railroads have to agree to continue to support their ongoing trains. Amtrak takes over. So, but a lot of trains are abandoned in 71. Amtrak decides not to continue them. So a lot of abandonment in 71. 71 is the last of the trains to Buffalo. So, but you used to be able to take trains, direct trains from Harrisburg to Washington, to Philadelphia, to New York, to Erie, to Buffalo, to Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, and a couple other points that I've forgotten. You can take a direct train to those places. The peak traffic for passenger service 1944. 1944, there's 90 billion passenger miles a year, and there's like a half-life of every 6 years. So by 1950, that 90 billion is now 45 billion. 1955, 56, it's 22 and a half. In the 60s, it's 11, and by the 70s, it's down to about 6. So when Amtrak takes over, it's around 5.5, currently about 6 billion passenger miles a year. But that includes commuter trains. When Harris opens up, it's not Harris, it's HG Tower. HG Tower, all the towers have a 1 or 2 letter alphanumeric call sign for the telegraph, so they can report their location by telegraph. Harris, the towers adjacent to Harris would be State going east and Rockville going west. State Towers built in 1938, electrification, and everything here going east is coordinated with State Tower. Trains report to Rockville Tower, and it takes them, they would allow them to go either to Buffalo or on the line to Pittsburgh. The call boxes up here are all for other towers, and if the tower wants to contact Harris, they ring Harris. They have individual bell rings, and then the operator will answer the call on this headset here.
Yep, Norfolk Southern original.
Oh, wow.
21M.
Yeah, this is a hands-free telephone that he can call. I mean, he can talk to towers, adjacent towers. The person in the middle is called a listening post. Listening post listens to other towers, and like this train would be called by State, and the person would write down when it was, so that they know how to route the trains in the station here. Teletype machine behind you here is for consist, and that tells them tells them what cars they have to add to tracks here at Harrisburg. They're adding coaches going east. They're adding mail cars. they're switching Pullman cars coming in off different trains to new trains. Sleeping cars are happening here in Harrisburg too. There's a train director here, just a train director, an operator. Operator reminds the listening post. Listening post listens to the other towers, and it allows these people to know that they're dispatching trains that are here. Listening post tells them what's coming. You know, the timetable. The timetable tells them what is supposed to come, but that's not what happens. I mean, they're coming. I'd like to show you the bathroom. The tops are switches, the bottoms are signals, and they will set the route with the switches and then follow that with setting the signals for that route. There's two levermen here. The machine is divided in half, so one does half machine and does the other half machine. These are the interlocking bars that whenever you give a switch or a signal, that operate the bars move and dogs engage or disengage, so it really locks you out of doing things like giving a signal to in the same track, different directions. You can do that. This is what it looks like. See the bar moving back there? That's engaging dogs. Each of these has a dog, and by throwing one, you may not be able to throw another. 1P and 2P up here are the eastbound, westbound passenger lanes. So, and they're eastbound, westbound. If they want to change that, they have to reset it. So that allows two westbounds to go on both tracks for some reason if you wanted to. But normally they're set east and westbound. Yep. So that's the two tracks there. The other one tracks are coming in here. These tracks here, 3E goes to the roundhouse, and these tracks, 4E would be where they would store electric locomotives. 11 and 12 are freight tracks, strictly freight. The trains coming in are on 11 and 12. What about the dogs? Yeah. Well, in the back here, some of them are magnetic, but they're contacts, and those contacts are going downstairs to the relays. Relays are actuating. When the relays are actuated, when relays are powered from here, actuates the relays. Relays send a signal out either for the signals or the switches. I'll show you that downstairs. The upstairs is the operating people. Downstairs is the preview of the maintainers. So they kind of are two separate crafts, if you will, so they don't really intermingle. But upstairs, when we're looking at those contacts and there's magnets in them, they connect with these relays. And the relays connect with the switches and the signals, and they control what's happening down here. The switches are pneumatically actuated, electronically controlled. So there's air running to each of the switches, and there's a piston in there that turns the points of the switch. And actually there was four racks of relays. So there's hundreds of relays here in the building. This is cab signals here. Pennsylvania Railroad is an innovator with cab signals. There's only three aspects that are displayed, and they run through this, and the engineer, I guess, yells out that he can Yeah, that he knows that, I guess if he sees them, if he sees all three aspects, he knows they work. So the guy on the ground's running through them, see if they work or not. They're checked every day. This meter would have been outside here, and they check the cab signals every day to make sure they work. So this is a tester